Welcome to Under Construction from Chadwick's, where it's all pure side talk. Yes, we like to tackle the big issues that affect tradespeople on and off site, while also having a bit of crack along the way. And there's no shortage of that today. We're in the presence of greatness. When it comes to Irish comedy, these two set the bar. It does help that they're father and daughter dynamic. Yes, we're joined by Faye and Pat Shortt. This is a great chat, plenty of fun. We relive all the brilliant memories from Father Ted to the Unbelievables to taking on Killing a Scully. So sit back, enjoy, and let's get it done. Faye and Pat, ye are so welcome
thank
to
you.
Under Construction. Let's get it done. We have a grip strength competition, and being from Tipperary, you know what I mean? It's obvious you're going to be the best at it.
Well, I'm from Limerick now, sorry.
yes, I know
okay,
that.
so I need to
You're
get
not
this. No, I'm a Limerick woman. But when Tip are in the All-Ireland,
she's no choice but to
I
shout
have no
for
other choice. So now that Limerick...
well, then you can bring a bit of resolve back to Limerick. Yeah. Because you're from Tip, Pat, I think we'll give you a first half version and a second half
What
version.
do I do here?
So basically you squeeze it as hard as you can. It's a measurement of kind of strength. So obviously all the people in the trade are quite through the roof with this. One thing I have to clear up is Philly McMahon is on top.
Who?
Yeah, one of the greatest stubs of all time. Now, we do need you to come in heavy here because he actually rang to make sure. Yeah, he rang in earlier on to make sure he was top of the list. And still is. 65.6.
He doesn't miss a beat.
No, he doesn't at all. So maybe we'll take the combined score. It should be the short. Should be the short.
No, because I'll be bringing his down.
just
No, you won't at all.
Just squeeze this.
As hard as you can now and go
One
for
hand,
it.
two hands.
Yeah, well, one hand is preferable, but I'm not going to tell you. You're an icon of our game. Go on, Pat. Go on,
Go on,
Pat.
Pat. Go on, Pat. Go on, Daddy.
Come on, Philly.
Don't have a heart attack now either.
That'll do me. 28.9. Philly, you're still in the game.
He's well in it.
Is that Philly McMahon is at 65.6?
There we go, yeah.
I'm right at the bottom.
Yeah,
You're
you're
right at the bottom. No, they only... Bernard O'Shea's at
Actually,
38.5.
the Father Ted crew are all down the end. He's too much of a good time. Faye, you're up next. Just meet your dad, please.
Yeah, I will. I know, I want this now.
There you go, Faye. Enjoy yourself.
Go on, Faye.
Go on,
Give us
Faye.
some. Go on,
Faye.
Go on, Faye.
Go on, Limerick. Go on, Limerick.
On the right.
Okay, what, do I let go now?
Yeah, whatever.
24.7.
Oh,
What did he get?
We're going to combine them. We're going to combine them.
And we still wouldn't beat Philly.
The only ones you have to combine them, I'd say.
Absolutely. Firstly, how are you? How things?
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us on.
No,
Right, yeah, sure. Listen, we're still reeling after the big win in the All-Ireland
unbelievable.
earlier.
Yeah.
And it was incredible.
Yeah, I wasn't
so
at it now, but you were at it.
I was at it, yeah. And look, it's just phenomenal. I don't think anybody would have seen Tipperary coming from the start of the year. If you were an honest person, you'd say
No,
that.
you didn't.
Nobody saw it
Even in the
coming.
first half of the match, you didn't see it going that way. I thought it was gone. Sorry, I thought it was gone.
Little tear out of Donica's eye there.
But as a Corkman, that's what, honestly, Faye, I was saying the
Yeah.
exact same thing. I was like, we've
I was
been
like,
that
you're
bad and we're 6 points up.
Yeah.
We're going to hammer them.
Yeah.
Typical.
I know.
Forgetting every person I ever met in my life that you can never finish up.
No. And then at the halftime thing, the scrap, but I was like, on the edge of my seat.
It kind of had everything on
Yeah.
it. But
It was a great game.
But it's great, yeah. No, we're back and we're writing a new show at the moment, Donegal, as
Yeah.
well, so which is fantastic. We're nearly 5 years on the road now together.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
It's been so scary.
It has been. Oh, we'll get into that in a second.
We definitely will. But even just writing now, it's totally changed in ways. So like you're in the middle of it. But are you writing now for stage? Are you writing for online? Like in terms of
that's
how do you think? Do you think
they're both different?
Yeah, so
They're
different,
so
aren't
different.
they? Yeah.
Like we're writing for stage, and some of the ideas that, like last week, Faye came up with some great ideas. And well, we looked at it and said that's not for stage. Those ideas are really good, but I think we'll do a really good sketch for online with those ideas. But I can't see. Do you know, you'd be wrecking your head in the style of comedy that we do, how we present ourselves, and just the mechanics of it. So in some ways, Donica, of like if we're doing a two-hander, I've got to come on first, or Faye's got to come on first. Who's doing the last sketch before it? So we got to work out that so we can seamlessly enter the stage.
Yeah.
One come on an open sketch, give the other person time to costume change, get it back out, and then at the end of it, do the reverse maybe and stuff, and then tee up for the next piece that's coming.
Like whatever about having a working relationship, in those moments, having a family relationship. You know, like we used to say it about my mom. My mom could give you what we used to call the banu, the eyes, and you knew. Like that's it, it's all over. Or like she could nearly, there's like a language within you. Do you find that with even stage presence?
I find that it does. I find like it naturally just goes into work mode versus home mode. I don't know how it does. I can't explain it.
What was interesting with the Australian tour now about that was because we were doing comedy festivals all the way around. You had to automatically go, hang on a minute, our show's not going to work in this way. We need to do this, that, and that. And we kind of snapped into it together. And that family bond was just as good as the professional side of things. And we managed to work things out, which was really exciting, actually. And we enjoyed that part of it as well. But that was when I noticed it really kicking in.
Yeah. I also think, you know, that whole saying of like, don't work with family.
Yeah.
I get that to a certain extent, but you'll never get anyone as honest as your parents. Do you know what I mean?
True.
Like, you never will. And like, there's a certain thing with family. If someone says something to you and you do kind of, do you know when someone gives you advice and you're like, fuck.
Exactly.
Like,
they don't know me at all. Yeah, exactly.
And then you have that ability with families, just go, okay, look, move on quickly.
He changed my nappies.
Yeah,
I better.
exactly. I have to get over it. Do you know what I mean? You do naturally get over it. Whereas I think with friendships or relationships, sometimes you still hold that grudge with a family person. Anyways, I just move on with it.
Snap into it.
Yeah.
Faye, it must have been difficult for you though. It's not been harsh, Pat. You're used to your way of doing stuff.
Yeah.
For
That's
you
true.
coming in and you know what I mean? How did you find that?
Oh, very tough. Because even like we're very similar with our like style of comedy and like our personalities and everything. But like our style of working is very different.
Yeah.
So I find like how I write is different to how Pat writes. Pat is very improv based and very like, you're amazing at getting up and just letting the character flow while on stage live.
I get you,
where I'm a little bit more like, okay, I need to have it scripted, I need to have it written out.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, I learned my style was like with The Unbelievables. I was 16 years with John Kenny working with him. And actually, would you believe 21 years on my own before joining Faye. It's a long time.
When you look at him.
He's that old.
And he still looks this great.
I know. Botox.
No, but with John, it was like we kind of emerged, the two of us together, improv and a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, when the early days before we were The Unbelievables, it was just John and Pat. And we were in pubs and bars and all sorts of places. And we'd often improvise something on the night for the crack of it. I remember one venue we found a load of nitrate bags and we hung them up like an art gallery and we turned the venue into a gallery full of shite. And we improvised the whole routine about walking around viewing the gallery and everything. And we used to love that kind of shit. So and then when we got into more structured theatre with entrance exits and all the kind of craft of theatre, we kept that madness of writing and that style of looseness with it. And John was a legend at that. I mean, he was absolute genius. So then you have Faye, who's trained in drama school and how to structure and do all this kind of stuff. And I join with that, and I'm bringing this madness to a structured regime. And it actually is good because I find it's really good to bring the madness down a bit and structure it. You know, and it's kind of comforting as well because you're going into a show with a structure. Sometimes when myself and John went into a new show, we would rewrite it the night before.
Genuinely.
Mum talks about these days when she's the day before a show and you'd be writing until about 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just madness.
I couldn't deal with that stress.
I'm
like, no. There's no need.
The first night out, it could be 3 hour long show.
Jeez. Wow.
And then, you know, you work it. But look, it's better not to have to do that.
And he's hard to pin down. Like when we're writing now, you're brilliant at letting the ideas flow, but we were together now partly because the tip match was on the weekend afterwards, but on Thursday we were writing and oh my God, it was like a call centre inside the studio, picking up the call, wait, did you get the tickets? I was like, you're up here, okay, for one day with me, put the phone down now and we need to write. And like, you know, I know it was the excitement,
life goes on, doesn't it?
Get up. You need to be tied down to the chair, like.
Do you like a bit of that though, Pat? The structure character now that you probably didn't know you did automatically. Like Faye, like you're training it, you spot it. You probably see the stuff that he does and knows that it's nearly just from being so natural.
But equally, like, there's sides of that that's invaluable, like how your ability to just improv on the spot and just magically, like, embody the character there and then.
And and I think a lot of that comes with just years of being on the road and doing gigs. I mean, we did a show recently where the sound system just went down for like 20 minutes.
Wow.
And there was 1,000 people in the venue.
Yeah.
And I had no choice but to keep going.
Yeah.
So you just make it part of the show and you get on with it and have the crack and get down into the crowd. And
Is that what you did?
Yeah. You had no choice. I can't walk off.
Yeah.
Leave 1,000 people sitting there looking at the walls until something comes back. So you got to get in there and keep going.
Wow.
And
it happened in the as well. We were doing a show together and the full sound system went off. So you actually couldn't really hear past.
The lads will love you for that.
Yes. Well, out of that part out.
The Limerick tour is now cancelled.
It was a random venue we were touring at, okay? And the sound system.
Did expect it from the Tipful, but not the Limerick tour.
Yeah, exactly. A local gig for him.
It accidentally went down. And, well, Pat was on the
Pat's
ball.
fault.
It was all Pat's fault. It wasn't the venue's fault at all.
Yeah.
But it was brilliant.
Pat, how do you find that though? Whatever about being partners, then being dad. You know what I mean? Clicking the hat from, you know what I mean?
Well, I think that's an interesting one because you have to leave that outside the door a bit too when you're touring. You know what I mean?
Okay,
because Faye's she's not a young one anymore.
Yeah.
And she got her own. No, when we got to Australia, like for example, Faye was out nearly every night of the week because all her friends were out there. I was sad Pat at home sitting there looking at an Australian football game.
You were ahead of the game on home and away.
Yeah.
You were wait till you see what's happening on the home and away, lads.
You had loads to mates.
It's always the same. I like she'd never tell me what she was at, and then I used to finish the show with the breakfast roll, and I turn around and go, "Ladies and gentlemen, Faye Shortt," and depending on what she was wearing when she came out onto the stage to take a bow, I'd know she was going out with the girls. She was coming back to the hotel with me. Brilliant.
That's true. Yeah.
She had full makeup on the dress.
Oh, it was great crack though. It was incredible.
Yeah. Just can we chat about that, because an awful lot of Irish trades and Irish young people like yourself, Faye, in Oz, just the tour in Oz. Tell us a little bit about it. How was it received? Was it like being at home?
It was. I actually felt more at home over there because all my friends have headed over. A lot of them work in trade actually, and a lot of them don't and just went over for a change of lifestyle or whatever. So most of my friend group are actually situated in Sydney in Australia.
Okay.
And it was incredible. Like every night of the week I had someone to meet up with.
Poor old Pat crying in. Yeah, table for one. Yeah, just myself.
Well,
I have room service.
I know.
I'm not going to mention any names.
I felt bad.
But the first, a friend was, he's in the trades.
Yeah.
The first night I arrived onto Sydney and Faye was going off meeting the girls and he rang me and says, "Look, I'm around, I'll drop down." So he arrived on with a bottle of poutine.
Whoa! You probably brought it out.
No, he was making it out there.
Brilliant. Did you find you to evolve the show, or is it the same audience in Australia? Could you keep it the same, or culturally did you have to change it a little bit? Or
we wouldn't change it because we have this, and I've always had this even from the days of touring with John way back. If someone in Australia is coming to see an Irish comedy show, they don't want to see an Australian bastardized version of Ireland.
Okay, yeah.
So if you're going to go and see river dance in Australia, you want to see Irish dancers. You don't want to see Australian clog dancers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, flatly done up like Mick Dundee.
If you're in Russia, you go to see, or if you're in Dublin, you want to see the Bolshoi Ballet, you want to see a Russian dance troupe, So I think you have to stick to that and work with that and the madness of what we do with our characters. Yeah. And we're very lucky because we do a lot of character comedy. We do stand-up within the show as well. And I think that the characters are very Irish. Of course they are. That's what we've written. Yeah. So I think the people love to come and see that. And funny enough, we did comedy festivals over in Australia this time around. So it was 50-50 Irish and Australian and locals.
We just had to edit the kind of show down to obviously
to an hour
to make it an hour. Comedy over in Australia is actually like much shorter in their time frame. They kind of stick to an hour for their gigs, whereas our show is 2 hours with the 20 or 15 minute intervals. So We
Yeah,
had
we
to.
had to
It was
cut
tough
out.
editing it down. That was tough. But I'd slow down a little bit because I would sometimes go 90 with my, with the accent and everything. So I had to slow it down a little bit. But other than that, no, it was authentically the
great.
same as what you'd get at home. But it was
I used to
great,
love sitting backstage, listening to Faye doing her routine, and the place called apeshit. And
Yeah.
that's a very
Well, there was
cool
one piece
thing.
I had written about a girl moving to Australia. And I roughly based it off a friend, and she ended up being in the audience that night, and with a group of my friends, and it was great.
and the
crack.
audience picked up on it
Yeah,
as
they
well.
knew it was her.
So it was basically a roast.
Yeah, it was a roast, a live roast of poor Shauna.
Yeah, it was so funny. That was a great night, actually. Yeah.
But it was just incredible. But the masses of Irish over there.
Yeah.
I think people talk about it over here, but until you get over there,
Yeah.
Like we had a fella bring us over to his kind of chipper / deli.
He does a podcast in the chip van out the back of his
No
chipper.
way.
Yeah.
And he's an Irish guy, and he's very famous over there because he brings that chip van to festivals and stuff
Okay,
as well.
yeah.
And he does podcasts.
Chicken
with a lot
fillet
of
rolls and the authentic
Australians. So we went
coleslaw.
in and cooked the breakfast for all of us.
Of course, yeah. Give them what they want.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun.
But you see the amount of lads arriving in jerseys in the morning, and you're just like, are we actually in Australia?
It was
Amazing.
mental.
mad.
It is
mental.
wild.
But it's great, yeah. But
Yeah.
hopefully they'll come back though as well.
Yeah,
Do you
exactly.
know
Get
what
them
I mean?
home.
Yeah,
We
get
could
them
do it.
home.
You could do with them now,
no
yeah.
mates.
Pat, you mentioned it, the breakfast roll, and it kind of comes up because it's transcending generations, isn't it? Like,
It's incredible. It's an incredible story, actually, because I did a character. I did a character in a show, and I based him on. There was a guy in Donegal who was a carpenter and a singer at night time. And he was really successful, and I just loved this whole idea of him going around in the high vis jacket and the hard hat, and he's working all day as a carpenter and singing in the bars and clubs in Donegal at night. So I kind of loosely based, and then I got like I was writing this show at the time, and I'd always go into the garage out near Casconnell where I lived to get a litre of milk and newspaper, head into the office, and it coincided with the same time the guys were on breakfast break from the local motorway being built. So the shop was a sea of high-vis jackets and lads all up getting the breakfast over with 2 eggs and that, 2 sausages, no, 1 pudding there, one after the thing, where's the sauce over there? And it reminded me of a sketch we did with the Unbelievables years ago, 2 of them and 2 of these and 2 of them.
It's very similar,
And it was very
actually,
similar idea. So I wrote the song with that in mind, and only ever intended it to be in the show, but I got an opportunity to do the Late Late Show before Christmas, and I said, you know what, I'll do the breakfast roll song. And I remember at the time a lot of lads in the office said, no, it's really good, don't hold off that for the show. And I said, well, I'm promoting the show, we should put the best one out. So I did it on the Late Late. I think Ruth Scott was one of the first DJs at the time. She just went, she ripped it off the TV in RT, and she said, I'm not stopping playing this until Pat Shortt releases or whatever.
No way. Wow.
So Sony contacted me, and a couple of other DJs did it as well. And it was getting requested like mad. Sony got on to me and said, look, you're going to have to record this. But of course, it was so close to Christmas, you couldn't get a studio in Ireland or England.
No.
So we had to go to Germany to record it and get it recorded and pressed.
Wow.
And get it out in time.
Yeah.
Because they were the only place that we could actually get a press of a
It went
CD.
like what is now TikTok viral, I suppose. It's
Well,
like
it was
equivalent.
pre-viral. You're right.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing at the time, really, was it? Like,
and that's what happened. The Breakfast Roll became the biggest selling single ever in Ireland. And I kept Shakira off the #1 spot at Christmas. the hips don't lie with a breakfast roll.
oh my God!
Wow. Oh, we met Deirdre Kane earlier on. She's in the next studio, the much smaller one. We're And Deirdre was touring with me at the time, and she used to always play Shakira before her set coming on. You know,
to rub it in.
Did she? That's gas.
But it was great. No, but here's the funny thing about it. I was asked to go on the 2 Johnnies then, by pure chance. I know the lads, they're great, and I'm mad about them, but I was doing a film in Belfast, and I was just finishing up, and they rang me that evening saying, look, any chance I come on the next night, because they had an artist dropped out or something. There was somebody booked, and as always happens, you know.
This Points in the Field?
This is before that,
No,
yeah.
this was their live.
They're in the pub, you know.
Oh, right,
yeah,
TV shows,
yeah.
So I came down from Belfast. They filmed it in Meath, so I was just up around there. And I said, what do you want me to do? I don't know what to do. They said, we'll do the breakfast roll. The boys wanted to do the breakfast roll. So we did it on the TV show, and it got 4 million hits that night. Not that over the next month or so.
It was kind of like a research, as in like people would know it, but there was an age category, I suppose, who wouldn't have heard it just because of growing up.
Well, it's funny you say it, Faye. Genuinely, my little girl Robin came to me, and it was after Points in a Field, and it was you, and she was there. Have you heard this song, Dad? And I was there, have I heard it? It's an anthem.
But I think they would on the Johnny's TV show, it opened it up to another audience again. And the Pints in the Field did that, and it's amazing. It's getting a whole new lease of life, and it's 16 years later.
Wow!
Yeah, it's gas, isn't it?
What marks that out as a bit unique? I think it's the essence really of Irish culture.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, and I think people identify with it.
Yeah,
and it's actually a good song. You know, not say there was two guys in Belfast, two comedians, and they take a song and they put it into AI or something, do a genre changer, and they did a heavy metal version of the Double Breakfast Roll, and it was brilliant actually.
Wow.
And it was so funny, and they were making the point, look, it's a bloody good song, you can put it into any genre and it works. I mean, I remember there was a Cajun band from America, they're huge. I can't remember his name. He's done loads of movies and stuff like that. And he did a Cajun version of it.
Yeah, wow.
And it was absolutely amazing. But of course, I didn't even realize it until then that it's actually written in a Cajun rhythm.
Yeah.
So it was easy to adapt, you know. But anyway, it's just one of those songs that it was a bit of fun, came out as a character thing, and it's a bit of a laugh, but people picked up on it.
It's catchy as well. It's catchy.
Oh, it's unbelievably catchy. You want it, it's an earworm. It's all the going on our place.
And I don't know, there's something about the, for younger kids as well, like two sausages, two rice. Like, it's kind of one of those ones that, like, you're learning to count or anything, just play the Jumbo Breakfast Roll.
And I will in my
own curriculum.
Primary school curriculum.
English paper 1, right? The breakfast roll, expand.
Oh, that's funny.
But like, just talking about TikTok and social media, how conscious are you of kind of making stuff relevant for that with your dad, or even your whole setup now, or even just kind of going, that's gone now. We can't do any. That doesn't work in the social media space anymore.
It's interesting because you wouldn't have done as much social media just naturally with like the age difference or whatever. And it's the benefit of TikTok and Instagram or whatever is it's bringing now like all these comedy sketches from back of like John and Pat even. And it's kind of like showing the younger generation as well, like this type of comedy that you had. And then it's also bringing us, together and everything. It's brilliant.
Yeah. What about for you there, Pat? Having to evolve, having to change, having to kind of...
I found it really hard, I have to say. And I'll tell you, because in my head I'm disciplined in the old school of recording, syncing the sound with it, and all this kind of stuff that you do. And then having a set kind of, should we maybe change that? What's brilliant about watching Faye with social media is just it's instant, it's out, it's gone, bang.
Yeah, okay.
And there might be flaws in it, but generally speaking, it's good. And the more she does it, the better it is.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas I'm still slowly creaking, going, I don't know, I moved during that. Forget about it.
Yeah, okay.
There's a level of like with TikTok, people want to see kind of just very raw versions of yourself.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be perfect. Whereas I obviously you do need to keep an eye and put thought behind it. You can't just throw out any old stuff. True. But people do like a sense of like, it's not fully,
there might be camera glitches or stuff. That's what I'm talking about more so.
From editing, you're like, from Killinascully now, Dad would have his director head on him being like, well, that angle is shite. And, like, you look shite.
Walking around like, you can't put that in a TikTok.
Yeah.
She did 7 of them out before I think
and then the views are great and the comments are great. And then I'm like, well, see, I told you so. I told you so. But
and you're right. You are right.
Difficult.
It's a different medium.
It difficult to teach someone. Like, if you're not on it, even with trends and things, it's hard to kind of explain to someone, this is a trend, this would be interesting to do.
Yeah.
But it's but we have great crack making videos.
We do.
And I like videoing you and throwing it up, and
you do.
I know. Well, people would love to see that. Genuinely, like I'm not just saying it, but it's like Tyke Fleming as well, but he's old fella.
You're
interested on how people take the piss out of their family.
Exactly, and it's so natural as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like a little like. you're like, it's like an insight to like someone's natural family dynamic, which everyone can relate to as well. Do you know?
You put one up recently, which I didn't even know was up until my wife told me, have you seen what Faye put up about you? And I said, no. And Caroline's there going, oh, my wife, it's so funny. It's so funny. I said,
and that's rare for her. That's rare for her.
It's the ultimate critic. But you don't dare turn the camera on her.
It's okay, fair enough.
At your own peril, I can guarantee it. Yet she can have a good laugh at me.
Yeah.
Do you use it as a tool though? For like you're saying, there is imperfections in it. But say you've a train of thought, and you're kind of saying, will this work? Is it handy to nearly fly a kite there and see? You know what I mean? If we're looking towards shows, does this character?
I find that I did a few sketches of like an almond mom, which is the type of mother who's very... Do you know what that is? Yeah. Because I don't know if you know now.
No. But
if you're too old or not.
I'm kids making me young. Yeah, I'm cool. But explain it to Pat.
Okay, you're cool.
Thank you, Donegal.
I did have to explain it to Pat. So anyways, I did a sketch character of like an almond mom, an Irish almond mom. And whatever, I did a few sketches of it on TikTok. And then when we were writing last week, I was like, geez, that'd be a brilliant character to bring to the stage, like an almond mom at a funeral or something, you know, talking about the deceased being looking fabulous in the coffin and all this. And it's like, well, no, she's dead, love. Like, you know, there's not a hope she's well because she's actually passed. God bless her. So, it kind of helps you write for the live show as well. Yeah. But equally, it's a different discipline. So
I know, but I found the same with the Michael character. I mean, I did the Builder character last year, and we never specified what Michael does. He just has high vis and a hard hat.
You can knock that one off.
Don't pick. Well done, Faye.
Chadwick's
too.
But it was amazing. As it went on, I just did another one, and throughout, and then we did ad-libbed a few around the place, and it got huge reaction to the character, and people stopped me, go, how are you, Michael?
But and Pat, it's mad you say it, but like in that moment, like all you do need is a hard hat and
that's
it. Like, and everything's for game. Like no one knows what he does.
No, and people identify with him. I've had him looking into engines.
And on
standing on building
scooters.
sites, and, you know, like I've never actually specified whether he's a carpenter, plumber, or electrician, or whatever. He's just Michael on building sites, you know, and everyone loves him. That kind of character.
Is there something in Ireland that if you have a high vis and a helmet, you know what I mean? A hard hat, you can do it all. You know what I mean?
I was working at a festival the other week. I won't name the festival now, but I was
You're
working.
already after slandering about four. Obviously, this one was in Limerick.
Go easy, I'll have
And I put on a high vis for the laugh, and I was like, let's see how far I can get now. I went into the VIP, didn't have a VIP pass at all. I had a high vis and I had one of those boards, and I had a bit of confidence on me. And I got into the VIP and I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Measuring tape, great one too. Just be measuring everything. You go in the door, make it look like when you step over there.
Yeah, confidence.
A swagger.
Honestly,
and a
bring a high vis to the next concert you go to and you'll get very far. You'll be with all the influencers. Except you won't be looking as, stylish.
You're there singing the next line with Oasis.
Yeah. But you look safe, and safe is sexy. Safe is sexy. Always wear a high vis.
Pat, I hate to say it, but the whole journey of it, looking back, geez, incredible times. Even just the starting of the Father Ted, obviously, we're doing that stuff. You know, we were chatting to Pat on the kind of...
Oh, yes. Yeah, Pat.
30 years on, and just that whole time as well. But, like... It's so funny, like that was always on in our dressing room and The Unbelievables was always on our team bus. You know what I mean? And it's so funny when you see humour landing in different places. When you've New Zealanders shouting in a game of poker, "'Tis my money, father. I just don't like filling out the forms." And you're like...
It's funny that, I went, the first tour I did of Australia was 10 years ago, actually. And every radio station I did a radio show in every city. And everywhere they presented me with an I Shot JR t-shirt. I never realised how... I've never really travelled abroad, to that extent after Father Ted. But it was huge. I remember when Steph and John in London being spotted on the high street. Wow. And people going, they're the guys from the Father Ted. My brother told me, Joe was teaching in England at the time. And he rang me one day and says, they have me lamped. I said, what do you mean? He says, in the playground, they're all going, fake drinkers. And Joe is the spit of me.
Okay.
And it's the first season of Father Ted came out. And it wasn't that big. It was actually, but it was the second season when that came out. And all the kids in England were catchphrases, the whole lot and everything else. And that was kind of when it ballooned all around the world.
Such
as
a good
well.
show.
It's incredible.
Oh my
But
God.
it's still Faye.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Like, did you know it at the time, Pat, when you were in it?
Not when the first one came out. And it wasn't that well received by critics and everything. People didn't know what to make of it.
Yeah, okay.
It was fairly out there. Like, you look at it now and it's
100%.
down, we all know it and we know the characters
Yeah.
and everything else. But when you didn't know it and these three priests on an island with a housekeeper, and are they taking the piss out of Ireland?
Yeah.
Or actually having fun at themselves, laughing
Or
at
are they
it?
taking the piss out of religion as well?
And,
Some
and,
people were like that.
and of course,
point.
it was a different time
Yeah.
as well
Yeah.
in a lot of that. And they were the two lads, Graham and Arthur, writers, were really edgy back in those days. And it still stands up as great comedy now, but it actually was great and satirical, and it had so many different ingredients back then. And people were kind of afraid of it, not sure what to do. It wasn't until the second season came out, the kids got into it, catchphrases, people started recognising us, which was 2 years. I think there might have been a gap of a year between the two as well.
Okay.
And we'd done the pilot 1 year, so it was like a 3-year build-up, if you know what I mean. But it was, so while we were shooting the second season, it still hadn't really gotten not the hype that we know of.
Yeah.
I didn't know Dad was in it.
They didn't know I was in it?
I was on.
No
I
way.
hadn't a clue because you don't really take interest in your parents' jobs that
Yeah,
much.
that's true.
Do you know what
That
I mean?
is
You're
very
like
true.
at that age. I'm talking now like 9 or 10, and we had a little DVD set, a portable one,
Yeah.
and we were on holiday somewhere. And
Portugal,
the only DVD in the house when you rent a house it was like a Father Ted box set. So we put it on, me and my cousins, and we were just watching or whatever. Then, oh, he's there, Ted! And then we went running out, be like, Dad, you do know you're in this. And he was like, yeah, I do know I was in that. Anyways, we thought he was cool for about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then it passed.
That was funny.
Just when you're in it, do you know the greatness of it then, though? Like, did you know, like, I know it didn't get received maybe by the critics at the start, but like the amount of brilliant people.
It was fun, and there was brilliant people, but we were all young. I mean, Tommy Kieran was very young.
Graham Norton was
Pat
so
McDonald,
young in it.
Graham Norton
Oh
was
my
young.
God.
You look at it, Brendan Grace was in it. He was amazing in it as well. And it was just great writing. And it was fun. And it was a great crew working on it, and the same crew kept coming back. Camera crew, Declan Lowney directing it, and he's legendary as well as a director. So yeah, there was a great team, but it was all so fast and moving on, and we were off gigging somewhere else then and doing something. You didn't have time to think about it, and I think the greatness of it didn't come till years later.
In kind of reflection of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you know what it reminds me of? In Back to the Future, and he's there, you don't get it yet, but your kids are going to love it.
Yeah.
The music.
Literally, we loved it.
Yeah.
We still do,
Yeah.
What is it about it? You mentioned it there because it was edgy. Irish sense of humour. Do you think it's changing? Is it adapting? Is it moving? Or like some of the stuff mightn't work anymore? Like just the example is Killing a Scully. Do you think there's parts of that now that you're there? No, the humour has moved on a little bit.
Well, yes and no. I mean, Kill the Scully is an interesting one. You bring it up because it's a pre-Watershed programme.
Yeah.
So for anyone out there listening that isn't aware of that, pre-Watershed is before 9 o'clock, and it's family entertainment. Father Ted, for example, when it was done, was post-Watershed.
Okay.
So you get away with so much more in post-Watershed. There's a lot of restrictions in pre-Watershed, naturally enough, because you've got families sitting down to watch it. What we did when writing Killing Scully was to keep it timeless. So we didn't reference politicians, news stories of the day. Every story was based around something maybe that, the driving test, man versus woman, that kind of stuff. Stuff that we'd all identify with. And then we had set characters that were at the bar. We bookended the programme. We're starting with them, finishing with them. Kind of techniques that are used in sitcoms, and from Cheers to Father Ted, but most, you start and top and tail bookend with stuff like that. So, the funny thing with Killing Scully, as you mentioned, we didn't get repeated until COVID.
Yeah, like 20.
We'd done a contract and a deal with RT that every actor would get something out of it if it was a repeat. But of course, RT don't manage that kind of thing.
All right, okay.
And they don't have the wherewithal in the offices to do it, and they never would have done that. Channel 4 do it, and ITV do it. A lot of them don't do it. So anyway, when there was a problem with making programs, because there wasn't being programs being made, they approached me and said, "Look, would you manage the royalties and all that with your company?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." And they said they'd love to put it back on here, and that's probably the best way to go about it. So they gave us the contract to manage the royalties with all the actors and everything else, and then they were able to. That was how they were able to put the show on air.
You took them all, gave them all breakfast rolls. There you go.
Well, it's in their contract, their percentages and so on and so forth. We had to work all that out. Anyway, long story short, the program went back on air for the first time, and the viewership was as big as when it went out day one. And it's held every week. It's on the air now. You've just got younger audiences coming to it. That it's nearly 18 years since we met it.
Yeah. But there's something beautiful about laughing with 3 generations,
isn't there?
You know what I mean? Sitting
Yes.
down on that kind of Sunday evening and just having...
And also it's very Irish. And the storylines and the characters and this small little village reflects more so what Ireland was like than it is today. We've got...
You'd be surprised, though. There's still bits of it there.
There is, but we've got more multicultural, I suppose, is what I would say. That if Kill and Scully was being filmed today, we'd reflect that in the programme.
It would be a little bit updated.
But even stuff like the one that always cracked me up, it was the kind of walking mammies. You know what I mean? And you saw them all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like that, being so embedded in the culture.
Well, here's an interesting one that when we were shooting it, the director lived in London and his partner came over and she just didn't get the walking mammies. When she saw the episode, she didn't get it at all. And she was only in Ireland a week while we were filming, and she'd come up late to set to visit us. Yeah. And she just said, "I get it now." Completely, every corner of every road and Boreen, there's 3 mammies out after the kids are dropped to school, off to go to work, which is lovely.
Now it's like Pilates mums.
Yeah,
it's like that kind of, do you know what I mean?
I think they're still
Stanley
there.
Cups.
Operation Transformation has
That's
put them around every gas ditch.
That's right.
That's where they're all now.
They've just moved on to
they've Stanley Cups and Range
They've
Rovers.
come off the Boreens.
Go to Ranelagh, you'll see us.
Yeah.
Pat, just on it though, the adapting there, you're saying there, like you're looking at the contracts there in moments like that. You became a director. I suppose your eye for all of the business.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think you have to love it, and I love working with all the different departments. And that came about from The Unbelievables. We started making our own videos before internet and all that kind of stuff. And the telly, the mammy, one hell of a do the mother. Yeah, they were the 4 videos we made. And we kind of like guerrilla filmmaking back in those days. We'd hire a crew, art department guys, and there wasn't anybody filming in Limerick in the area and that. Wow. So we were kind of the first to start it off. Doing that, and I got really it was small, it was tight budgets, so you got to work with the art department, the construction guys, you got to work with the sparks, electricians, camera guys closely, because there's only a handful of us in it, and they became some of the biggest videos ever sold in Ireland. Those ones.
Yeah, I never got paid for it either.
She was only one.
For the
She
check.
was only one.
No, never got
royalties don't apply to home.
Where are my royalties now, love?
But out of that came Kill and Scully, because that's when I was approached when I was on my own to do. And I said, look, I was used to working like that. I put my own production company together and continued to work to that. And funny enough, we started building all our sets in the old Dell factory in Limerick.
No way. Wow.
Near the university. And that now is Troy Studios.
Yeah.
So, kind of a way, I always say that, look, we kind of get the kernel of the idea for Troy may have sparked off. We were 10 years building sets in there and shooting.
The pennies finally dropped. Remember when we used to have fancy dress? Alan Quinlan would always turn up top of the bus. He was definitely out in the studio robbing a bit of gear.
He was. There's a good few costumes missing over that whore.
Brilliant, with the arse torn out of him.
Yeah.
Faye, everyone looks to kind of get better and improve. But like, how conscious are you with your dad that okay, we're performing tonight, and you're not directing, you're not producing, or do you have to keep an eye on that side of it, or do you just?
No, I suppose like what I was very conscious about when I first started working with Dad was like building my own story and building my own kind of personality and, and where we are similar as well, like we're also very different, like just with my age, also being a girl, you know, all that. So that's what I was very conscious about, because originally, like when I was in college, I definitely would have tried to veer away from being associated with Dad. Not that I was
no,
embarrassed.
I get it. Yeah,
But you know what I mean? Like,
but everyone listening know that are in trades. It seems like you follow the family line, isn't it? And everyone's nearly looking at you from a young age, going
completely. If they take over the business now, or if they take over the trade, will be that they're doing a half-farce job in comparison to the father. And you know what I mean? We'll all go to shit now.
Exactly. There you go. Best of luck. I hope it goes wallop.
Yeah. Oh, she hasn't a clue. God help her. You know, and it's the same with restaurants and business restaurants as well. You know, there's a lot of pressure, you know, on that. Like I know someone whose father is thinking about selling the business, and they're, you know, everyone's like, well, where are you going to get it now? And the pressure of, will I be overtaking it? But anyways, it's a different type of pressure with this, but I love it. And now
but then you've got your own thing going on, like with Spain.
Yeah.
And I love that about Faye. She's gone into more like one strand, and you've got to be multi-strands in this business that we're in. Whether it's you're making films, you're doing stage, you're doing comedy, you're doing theatre. And in Faye's situation, she loves presenting, and she's really good at it. So she's now a DJ is probably the right word to use.
Yeah.
I wish.
There you go.
I'm a blackguard.
But it's
I'm on Spin 103.8 and Spin Southwest doing radio as well.
Brilliant.
So and I do, like, you know, advertisements on social media and things like that as well. But you just, with the whole self-employed thing, you have to be like that. Otherwise, you won't be putting the bread on the table.
Yeah. Everyone sees it as the opportunity. Oh, Pat can give the hand up. But I've always noticed you nearly have to work harder.
You do, because you have to prove yourself. Yeah. No, you do. And that side of it is tough. And but obviously then I've equally learnt so much from you. Do you know what I mean? So it's brilliant in that sense. But the whole Nepo baby thing at the start was a bit of a pain in the hole. But I'm over it now.
Yeah, it's people that don't understand the business.
Yeah.
Throw those labels around. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because the reality, as you rightly say, you've got to work harder, but also it's great to get an opportunity to be on a TV show, radio show with me, but then you got to prove it yourself as well.
Exactly.
You know? So it's not just, especially when it comes to stage, you step up in front of 1,000 people in a theatre.
Oh yeah, like you're not going to hold my hand.
You're going to die fairly quickly.
Exactly,
you know, you will.
Yeah, like I always say it, like, for if I ever do get a comment like that, it doesn't really bother me honestly anymore, because in my opinion, I'm like, well, I'd like to see you up in front of 500 people and see how you get on. And
I always I always use the analogy too that if we had a sweet shop, she'd probably be working behind the counter. If I was a carpenter,
I'd be the best little sweet shop worker.
And we had a joiner. You know, it's natural that you move into your family business. We just happen to be in entertainment.
Funny you said earlier on, you mentioned, Pat, that like one of the memories you have is being out the back and just listening to and just being proud there. I'd say for you there in that moment, like producer, director, partner, just being dad.
To hear an audience, the laughter and the belly laughter and the gags landing, and she's hitting everything right. Yeah, it's gorgeous. You get very, very proud. And it's exciting.
Is there any characters, Faye, that your dad does that you're there, okay, this is vital, we evolved this one. This one's too good to not keep coming along the journey with us? Or
equally then as well, you kind of like, that's the hard thing about writing, is when you do hit a character that's so strong, but you've done it. Yeah, okay. It's like you don't want to drag the arse out of it either and keep doing it every single show. Yeah. So there's that line. But like there's you've so many characters that
but then sometimes the audiences demand it.
Okay, yeah.
And you got to listen to that too, you know. So you kind of say, oh God, put that character to bed. I'm doing it every night of the week, but someone in Sligo's only seen it once in a year.
True.
Maybe. Yeah. And if they love that character, they want to see more of them. Yeah. So you rewrite and you make it different, but you bring it back. And I had it with the guard character that everyone loved, and I brought that back. And I wasn't going to bring it back in the show. And the producer guy working with me said, look, you got to do it. It's great. It lands every time. And he's such a wonderful character. So I ran him for 2 shows. I brought the teacher back in the last show.
That was incredible.
We rewrote that.
And what you did with that which was so good, is you brought it back to like kind of teaching nowadays. So it was constantly kind of getting updated and bringing it more relevant to like what school would have been like back in the day.
And anyone that had seen the character before just loved him when he walked out onto the stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and it's 20 years since I did that character. Yeah. So it's not a whole new audience. So you can bring characters back, but you got to be careful that you don't do the same material maybe.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, but there's a balance, like you
say.
There
is, yeah.
Jeez, it must be difficult.
I stopped playing the breakfast role at shows. And I got so many complaints.
No way.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, you've only brought it back in the last year.
Last year too. And I got producers and people in different venues say, why aren't you doing the breakfast show? And I'm going, well, I did it for 10 years in the show.
Yeah.
And they're going, yeah, but people want to hear it. And the crowd go mad every night I'm playing, and it's a bit of fun. And it's like going to see Bob Dylan and not hearing your favourite Bob Dylan song or whatever.
Going to Oasis, not hearing Wonderwall.
Yeah.
You're like that. You know what I mean? And you're
yeah.
like, it's the one song, well, not the one with Oasis now, they've loads of songs.
They don't do too many. They don't do the comedy stuff too well. I remember seeing them when they were starting out, Oasis, actually. It was great. Myself and John Kenny were in the Tivoli Theatre. And there used to be a club downstairs, and whoever was booking it out was unreal. The Stone Roses were there, Oasis, Blur, all these bands that literally turned within a month or two with a single, and they were playing stadiums.
Wow.
And Oasis, I sat in on their sound check and kind of just sat in the speaker beside them while they were doing the sound check. And the funniest thing happened, we were there for like 14 weeks in the Tivoli, you know.
Yeah.
And every week there was another act in. And who landed in? Only the Cranberries from Limerick. And we knew them all. Wow. And because we'd known them from the start. Like, and they were like, oh, let's come into the gig tonight. Joseph and John come down to there. The fucking security wouldn't let us in.
No way.
It was the only gig downstairs with all the clubs.
And you knew them well.
We knew
the only
them.
crowd you know.
The only crowd we knew.
They probably tipped them off. Do you know? You don't need
Just them two whores upstairs.
There's a tip fella coming
We're
down.
sick
right?
of listening to them. cheap.
Oh, it's
that is
brilliant.
gas.
Looking at it in different ways, though, you've crossed into proper drama. Like you look at, the Garage, the Irish.
The crippled Finnish man in New York and Broadway and West End.
Yeah, that part of from going to the crack to absolute serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was lucky. In my career, in the sense, as everything with sport and everything, work and everything, it's a large amount of luck is required. You can be as talented as you want, but if you don't get the lucky breaks. In my case, it was Garage with Lenny Abrahamson. I'd done a few commercials with Lenny, and we'd worked together on a few things, and we knew each other quite well. And he always told me afterwards, when it came to Garage, it was the physicality of Josie, the character. And he knew I could do it because Lenny's a big fan of slapstick, old style comedy, going back to the Chaplin and all that kind of stuff. So he was very much into physicality, and we'd worked on a couple of comedy stuff together. So he approached me about that film, and I did it. A lot of people didn't expect the performance from me that I did in it, but I was getting that opportunity to do it. And after that, everything changed for me. In relation to people's perception of what I did. The thing about comedy is, with The Unbelievables, and even I'd done Father Ted, you get stereotyped, and you can often people say, well, he's a comedian, he's a slapstick guy, he puts on a funny wig and he comes out on the stage, and but they'd never trust you with taking on a serious drama role. But I did it in that, and after that I got directors. Funny enough, I won a lot of awards for that in France, in Cannes, and in London and other places around the world. And internationally, I was known as a straight actor.
Wow, yeah.
And I got all these directors coming to me. I ended up working on John Boorman's last film.
Yeah.
Legend John Boorman, to work with someone like him. I worked on 4 Letters of Love recently with Polly, the director on that, who's done massive movies and stuff like that. So, and all these
That's
people.
out at the moment, actually, in cinemas,
it's only out at them, So, I got to work with great directors. I got, like Richard E. Grant, I got to work with him on a movie, for about a month or two, was together having the crack. I just think Whitnell and I is my favourite film of all time. So to walk onto a set with people like him, and Pierce Brosnan recently, to walk onto a set with him and share a dressing room with him, and you're pinching yourself saying, that's James Bond sitting beside me there, passing the milk over.
He's sing the jumbo breakfast roll.
I don't want to ask him. And so I was very lucky in Banshees, of course, with Brendan and the lads and Colin and all them, and to be part of that whole Oscar thing was incredible as well, and people rooting for me, getting texts from fairly serious actors saying your film is doing great, you're up nominated. Blah. It was nuts. It is nuts. So I've been lucky. I've got to do a lot of films and stuff like that, and it's been a great career thing. But as I said to you, There's a lot of great comedians. A lot of great comedians are good actors, actually. And a lot of great musicians are good actors because of all about timing and everything else like that. You know what I mean? They kind of have it, but they're just not maybe getting the breaks.
Faye, the stereotype thing is interesting though, because I think as Irish people we love boxes. You know what I mean? Like it makes sense to our heads that you know you're over here and you're that.
Completely.
But like breaking out of them and evolving them and moving them on. How have you found that? Like that.
I haven't gotten many gigs, really, acting gigs.
Yeah.
It's time enough for it.
No, but you know what I mean? So
I didn't get them until after
I
was
haven't
right.
really hit that kind of side of my career yet. I've been doing like stage, presenting, radio, and I've been absolutely loving it. So, you know, people are like, oh, would you ever get into the acting? And it's like, it's not that easy. Like, I need to be given a job first.
And the other thing you kind of forget is like, you are acting. Everything you do is acting.
Yeah.
I think that's where people forget in comedy is, he's funny.
Yeah.
But actually you're performing a character and there's a discipline to it.
Yeah. But it's one of those things like, I'm sure it'll come, but like, you go for auditions and like, you might not hear anything back and you've gone for an audition and then you're into round 2 of an audition and you hear nothing back or whatever. So like, you wouldn't want to be fully dependent on it from a financial point of view either. So because sometimes people do ask me, they're like, oh, would you not, you know, you're not doing any acting at all. And I'm like,
I'm
trying.
I am.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm acting like I'm enjoying this conversation with you.
Exactly. I know it's bad, but it's because people don't understand it. Like, or like I went for an audition once and I didn't get it or whatever, and then I was watching a film and I was like, these lines are very familiar, and sure it was Florence Pugh who got the role.
Yeah.
There you go now, that's why. And you know, she's been acting a little bit longer than myself.
While,
so there you go.
I got the same with a film and I was watching it and I was thinking like, Faye, I know the script I did, and a year earlier I'd done the audition for it. Who was it? Only Colin Farrell.
No way.
Now in fairness, he needed the gig more than I did.
You were there. I'm not going in a phone box for more weeks. Give it to Farrell. I'm not dressing up as a penguin.
The gigs are going well for me at the moment. Now I don't need any handouts there from the film.
Probably before we made it though, the perception in Ireland of kind of stereotypes and, you know, just keeping people in it. You know what I mean? Like, do you find that, Pat, that people just always, is it exhausting that, I know you're saying someone in Sligo might only see it once, but like when they meet you, everyone always expects you to
funny
be...
man.
Yeah.
You
go to the shops and have to have those downtimes as well, you know?
Do you ever find that? Or what did you find? Did you find that? Like,
no,
he's doing the interview.
Sorry.
You have to put him on the spot there now, Faye.
No, I realised that was a really good question. Because I'm there, jeez, that's hard to answer.
I'm like Tommy Tiernan.
Do you know
now,
what I notice in different places? What I notice is they like to put us in kind of like
a
Paul
box.
O'Connell was always seen as manic intensity.
Yeah.
One of the funniest guys, most genuine guy you'd ever be around, but nobody wanted that.
To see
they wanted
to break down a match and analyse it.
And to see that he'd run through a wall within 2 seconds, and you're there, you're missing the real beauty of this fella, that he's a kind, caring, like person.
There is stereotypes, though, I think, when you're in a certain industry as well, that people associate with, or equally, like, when you're out and about with you get that way more than what I would. Just kind of the like there's been a few times you've been out for dinner with mum and stuff, and people will get a chair.
Fella pull a chair up to the table
and sit down and join the dinner.
I'll join you for a while. You're going, I'm with my wife having dinner. What makes you think you can join us for a while?
You're
you clown.
Like, thank God.
Take him.
Take him away, I'll get a table for one.
But I think it's because like people feel like they already know you because they see so much of you and you're so warm and lovable on these sketches.
I know the characters.
Yeah. Nearly wrapping up. Advice for someone starting out. It's very different now. But someone, you know what I mean, comedy, or even in a trade, you know what I mean, whatever you're...
Yeah, it's so different now in our business. And you know, it goes into the trades as well. I know we're here with Chadwick's, but that you know, social media is such a big thing now in our game. And I would imagine if you're promoting your own personal business, it's no different, you know. So it's something just to get a grip with. and
Get savvy with it. You'd
yeah.
encourage.
I would encourage, and don't be afraid of it.
So, like, honestly, if you're plumbing there, like, you know what I mean? Get on TikTok.
You don't know. I mean, here's the thing.
There's ways of doing it though as well. Like there's smart ways.
Give us a bit of advice now, Faye. Come on.
So see, it's hard because it's all personality based as well. But like, if there's a certain slant you can take on plumbing, or like a certain slant on like you're doing scaffolding or something, kind of.
Well, here's the trick that I would suggest, and it's in keeping with what you're saying. If I look, I've worked on a lot of TV shows with chefs.
Yeah.
And, afternoon shows and one thing. And the greatest thing I always get from is a tip.
Yeah.
That you can use at home. So whether it's, just mix a sauce with something, but you'd never think, but you get the sauce from Dunn Stores and it's a whatever, mix that in. You don't have to go make it and you're going, God, that's a great tip or whatever to do.
Yeah.
If I was a plumber, I'd be shown little tricks of how to fix the bloody washer at home yourself or something like that.
Okay.
You're not going to take on the big jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Duct tape everything.
Or, if you're I don't know, it's not my business, but just the tips, the small things that will help. Will help the home improver or whatever, and that will get you following. Then suddenly your business is back up there in front and centre.
Lads, there's no doubt. But where can we see you next? So, like, it's the show's written and
the show
ready to
is
go.
in the middle of being written. But all the dates are up on the website. There is more to be added on patshortt.com.
Yeah, and we're starting the tour in October. First weekend in October down in Kilmallock and Limerick, and then touring everywhere all over the place.
Honestly, so glad you joined us today on Under Construction. Really appreciate it. Faye, we wish you continued success.
Thank you so much.
Honestly,
thanks for having us.
And Pat, thanks.
Honestly, always a pleasure. Thank you.
But just honestly, from team rooms to team buses, all the low days in our living rooms, just all the laughs you gave us over the year, it has been incredible, and we're so grateful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
keep
much.
trying it.
Thank you.
Go on.
Good luck.
That's it for this episode of Under Construction with thanks to Chadwick's. A massive thank you to you for listening. Also to our fantastic guests. If you'd like to subscribe or follow, we'd really appreciate it. Or you can hit the like button. See you next time.